truly innovators and leaders in kind of sustainable and socially sensitive real estate. And so I first want to start with Phil and ask, you know, what is your philosophy and really how has that impacted your work?
Well, let's start, we'll go a little bit farther back and we'll get into the philosophy, okay? You know, when I was first starting, you all know the principle that you find, I knew I had to make a living, okay? And at the same time, I wanted to do some work I could be proud of. And part of that was trying to identify a niche that we could fill. And we talked about, back in those days, we talked about middle market housing, which has now evolved into the term workforce housing, which is this group of people between 80 and 120% of area median income. And so I felt like then I could make money and do something that it was socially beneficial that I could be proud of. And then by the early 90s, started getting interested in the impact, again, from a purely profit-based motive, started looking at sustainability and those type issues. So 1991, we bought our first complex fluorescent light bulbs. I remember they were $18.72 each. I also remember that we got them only to discover they wouldn't go in the fixtures that we had in the building, so we had to replace all the fixtures. So it ended up costing $43 per light bulb to put them in, and the math still worked. Okay, it worked within in under 2 years. They had paid for themselves because these were like 70-watt bulbs that burn 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, replaced by 15-watt bulbs that burned that same time because the buildings weren't properly wired. But that got started, and then that started increasing this interest in environmental. And it was along about that time that I came across the concept of responsible property investing, and realized, well, that's what I've been doing all along. Okay. So for those of you who aren't sure, responsible property investing is an attempt to reconcile the environmental, the social, and the economics of real estate ownership, development, redevelopment, and investment and operations into a unified profit-based model. It's very important. We talk about the 3 P's, people, planet, and profit. And the whole idea behind it was if you made money, you could then attract capital. If you could attract capital, you could then do the work that was environmental and the social good. And so that is the philosophy that everything we do is always a constant balancing act between, you're limited in how much you can do on the environmental and the social side by you have to return to the investors a market rate return. But as they grow more comfortable, then you